I write all kinds. I'm actually a poet myself. I write basically I write fiction. Um, I write basically like messages trying to promote peace, trying to promote faith, love, trying to promote basically a positive message. Like for instance, these two books here. I mean, well, this one book, this is a hardcover version, and this is a soft cover. Story of a Leader. Um, it takes place in New York, and the reason why I wrote this book was because I took it kind of a little bit from my experience. Um, it's about a guy. He's a, as they would say, a vigilante. He doesn't like crime. He despises crime. Basically, a lot of people, they wonder, we have a police force. Why don't the police force do everything? But they can't because the police force is actually limited. So this guy takes it upon himself to build his own organization to go out there and to fight crime, to stop it whichever way possible.
We need to take a break, but when we come back, I want you to tell me a little bit more about where we can find that book. Can we buy it? Where can we buy it? We'll be right back.
Listen, I know you're upset, but it was just one date. And dating's like the stock market. There's ups and downs and ups and so always buy low.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
And we're back with Shindo Rodriguez and Lawrence Mays, two self-published authors, poet and a fiction writer. And before we took a break, you were telling me about your book, but I want to know, both of you, where do we find these books? If they're self-published, are they in Barnes and Nobles? No.
Right, no.
No?
This one you'll find online, but this one, my second book, Foreplay.
Foreplay.
Yes.
With the number 4. Okay.
Yeah. And actually, I created this myself. I did the binding. I did the laminator. For both books, I took the pictures myself. The editing is done by me. This one I actually have the hard time that I have with is basically I have my own website. I use basically like PayPal or money order, or what I do is I go out there, like, 'cause since being that I live in New York, I try to deal with anybody that's interested in buying my book in New York, whether it's in the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, Brooklyn. I write to them and I tell them, listen, are you interested in my book? For instance, Foreplay. Foreplay is it's an urban fiction drama book about 4 guys. 3 guys are players. They talk about how they play women, why they cheat on women. And the 4th guy, he's actually totally against it. He's actually what they would say he's the good guy. But he's the one that always ends up getting hurt in the long run because of the consequences that the other 3 guys made.
So which one is you? I mean, how much is this from personal experience?
I'm actually the good guy.
Okay, oh, naturally.
Yes. Yeah.
So the question is very general, I think. How much of it reflects your life? And in your poetry, how much of it reflects your thoughts?
Oh, definitely.
The ideas that you want to convey, how much of it is about your own personal experience?
Definitely in my playwriting and in my poetry, I find that it's rather hard for a writer to not write about themselves in some way.
And your friends, I imagine, somebody or parts of somebody may make parts of this character that you're creating, right?
And you may not mention them directly, for legal reasons,
right.
but definitely, it is them. I think that all of us, when we write, even when we write essays or we write, anything, we're putting a little bit of ourselves and our reality and our world and how we see it in it.
You ever have one of your friends come up to you, from one of your books and say, "Hey, this guy looks a lot like me. What were you doing here?" Does that happen?
Yes, definitely.
Well, actually, with me, actually, no, nobody really knows. But I did have people say, they have come up to me and be like, "Wait a minute, are you sure that's not a story about yourself?" And I say, and I hesitate because, basically they might telling me, "Well, isn't that a nonfiction?" I'm like, it's not a nonfiction. It's actually fiction because I'm using fake characters. If I put my name and I use real characters, and that's nonfiction. But I tell them all the time, yes. I mean, it is based on some of the things that I went through. Some of it is exaggeratory. I put in my own little imagination there. But most of the part, yes, it's basically how I feel, what I went through, and so on.
So who edits you? Do you have editors when you self-publish? Is it a friend? Is it your mom? Is it somebody who's really into reading, and you just say, "Hey, look this over for me"? Is that how you do it?
That's right. It's usually whoever you can find. I know when I got published in high school, it was a big book that we did as a group, and you know, and fortunately I had a teacher to do that. You know, I find these days now I'm kind of like slipping a friend $20, like, man, just 10 poems, man, please, I promise, just 10, you know. So it usually goes that way.
Okay, and you? And what do you? Who reads you?
Actually, I do it myself. I actually sit down, I read the book maybe twice, maybe 3 times, and sometimes I'll read it out loud. If I have friends or if I have family coming by, I'll just read it to them, and then that's when I capture my mistakes. And then when I feel like the book is perfect, then I send it out there.
He said read it aloud, and that reminds me, in the case of a poet, do you actually go out and recite?
Oh, yes, definitely. You might see me at the New Eurekan Poets Cafe, popping my head in time from time. I've actually produced plays there, and I'm trying to do my poetry there. And I'm always promoting my books, you know, there. I think that, you know, what people don't realize is that when you self-publish, you have all the creative freedom. But the downfall is that you have to put in your own man hours, you know. It
takes a lot of discipline.
That's right, discipline in it. Sometimes it can become an obsession, you know, like, oh man, like you wake up in the morning and you've got all this stress, you know, and you're going to class or you're going to work and you're like, man, you know, when I get off, I could go to sleep, or I could probably sell 10 books on 125th Street, or, you know, so it becomes like a chore almost. You know, which some people aren't ready for. That's why I wouldn't recommend self-publishing to everyone. But I would ask, you know, people to try it. You know, if you're gonna go publish, at least self-publish first for yourself and see how it is, you know, so you can appreciate what goes into it. And then go into publishing and allow them to do, you know, whatever it is.
Well, when I talk about self-discipline, in terms of deadlines, I mean, if you're doing it on your own, you can always give yourself a break.
Right.
But if you have an editor breathing down your neck, then and you know you have a deadline to meet next week, the pressure is on. So that's why you end up slacking off a little bit, no?
Yes, that's true. And I could definitely agree. Sometimes I get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'll stay up all till like 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'll probably end up getting 3 hours sleep, 2 hours sleep, just to promote my book, and to just come up with more ideas to write more books. So it can get pretty tiring. I mean, for me, I mean, I love it. It's a passion. I love to get up in the morning. I love to call people and say, hey, you know, are you interested? And if they are, I love to go to the Bronx. I love to go anywhere just to meet up with my fans, shake their hands, give them an autograph for free, take pictures with them, put them up on my website. Because if anything, you know, you have to always remember that a book could be good, a book could be bad, but you have to always remember that it's always the fans that make you.
Is there like a society of self-published authors? Do you guys talk to each other? I understand that there's this camaraderie among self-published authors, that you guys get together and you advise each other. Is that happening?
Yeah, sometimes. I know through Lulu.com, which I mentioned that I put my books in binding, is that you know, other people who are members of Lulu.com can actually message each other and ask questions, and I get questions all the time. People have noticed that I've been a member since like 2004, 2005, and they'll ask me about self-publishing, or, you know, ask me to read some of their work, and, you know, and it kind of becomes a community. I think when you self-publish, it sort of humbles you, because you know, like, man, this is tough. So if you can reach your hand out and help the other guy, I think, you know, a lot of authors, you know, I think when we saw each other today, we just shook hands like, oh yeah, we know what it is.
Same fraternity, you didn't even know.
That's right. I don't even need to know. You know.
Okay. So what about the websites? Where can people find out more about you?
Well, you can find out more about me and my books, and also my theater company that I own through my theater company's website, which is www.truthwriter.net.
Truthwriter.net.
Yes.
Okay. And you?
I have 2 websites. One of them is www.myspace.com/shinbooks. Basically,
Shinbooks, spell that for me.
SHINBOOKS.
Okay.
Over there, you'll see everything that I'm doing. I talk about future projects. Right there, you can also buy my book through PayPal. I have you know, you can see my fans. If you take a look at my pictures, you'll see like the equipment that I work with, fans that I've met, famous people that I've met. And then my other website is www.freewebs.com.